We all need money. And sometimes, we need it urgently, to solve various problems and tasks. But it often happens that when you need money urgently, right here and now, there is nowhere to get it, it simply isn't there. So we ask ourselves, what to do if you urgently need money? Where to get it? The word loan immediately comes to mind, which we can take today, practically without problems. This is a good option, and it should be noted, quite popular, since many people take out loans today and solve their temporary money problems in this way. I would like to draw your attention to the word temporary, because permanent money problems cannot be solved with a loan. You can do without a loan. For example, you can negotiate with interested people about you doing some work, for which they will pay you before you do it. I have earned money this way many times, when people first paid me, and then I provided them with certain services that they needed. Well, I mainly do financial consultations, if we talk about my services that are not related to my business, and therefore it is this type of activity that I can earn myself quick money. While some of you may be knowledgeable in other important issues for our lives and offer your services in other areas of activity, try to earn quick money on what you understand. For example, you can do apartment renovations and negotiate with several clients at once on this issue. Agree so that they first pay you money, and then you do the work they need for them. The main thing is that people trust you, then they will be ready to pay you in advance. So be sure to watch your reputation and in no case tarnish it with your egoism and greed. When you need money urgently, you can take it in advance, if of course they give it to you, but you must work off this money, firstly, so as not to have problems with people, and secondly, to count on their help in the future. In general, we have the following scheme: chairs in the morning, money in the evening, and not vice versa. Now, if you are an honest and decent person, and not only you know about it, but other people know about your high personal qualities, this method of quickly getting the amount of money you need can be successfully implemented by you. You don't need to cheat, it's like spitting into a well, otherwise you will decide to ask a person for help, and he will not help you, and he will do the right thing. I suggest you read my article, which is called Money on Credit, and learn from its example, not only to take, but also to give back, borrowed money. With work, everything is the same, you can take money for it right now, when you need it, and then do it, thereby paying off the debt to people. Be honest in this matter, and you will always be able to agree with people about the fast money you need so much. Besides work, there is another way to quickly get money, in cases when you urgently need it. To do this, you need to sell something. And it is absolutely not necessary to have something to sell, because you can sell not your own, but someone else's, by agreement, of course, with the owner of this someone else's, as long as you know how to do it, sell. Our entire economy is built on the purchase and sale of goods and services, because things do not come to us by themselves, and they themselves are not produced. Behind all goods, as well as services, there are people who sell them to us and who themselves buy them from us. So, if you yourself have nothing to sell, help someone else sell something serious, for which they can pay a lot of money. You will get money as quickly as you sell something, and depending on the amount you need, you may have to sell not one thing, but many things or many services. For example, the internet is full of specialists, all sorts of lawyers, psychologists, financial consultants, healers, witch doctors, and the like, active individuals who need to sell their services. So, help them do this, bring them people and agree on percentages, and perhaps if you give these people some guarantees, they will pay you in advance. True, I personally would not pay money in advance, but that's me. And there are other people with whom you can agree on prepayment. To some extent, this is similar to the way I already mentioned to make quick money, when you first receive the money itself, and then do the work for it. Only in the case of sales, you can sell something at any time convenient for you, Perhaps you are such a sales genius that you can sell something within a minute, or maybe within an hour, or maybe within a day. Sold, received money, went and did their business. Theoretically, everything is simple, but in practice, it all depends on you. Of course, I understand that in cases where you urgently need money today and now, this option may not work, because while you find a buyer, while you rub something into his ears, all this takes time. But still, you can consider this option for yourself, if you are not in a hurry and know how to sell. Meanwhile, I suggest you read my article, called How to Make Money on Forex, because perhaps, if you understand this, you will want to make yourself some quick money by buying and selling currencies. Other people can do it this way, on the Forex market, so you can do it too. In addition to all sorts of work and trade, you can also get money through begging. No matter in what form you will implement it, the main thing is that people fall for your calls to give you money. Either you stretch out your hand, or stretch out your legs. Remember this phrase from the movie, 12 Chairs? Today you can ask in any way you like. For example, I have received emails asking for help more than once, for some disabled person or a refugee, or for children. In general, there are many options and beggars do not disdain anything to get money. They do not know any norms of morality and ethics, while they themselves are pushing for this. Hiding behind good intentions, for example, when they allegedly want to help children, these sly people manage to rob many suckers, of whom, as expected, there are always enough. Now I have even started to see charity bins in some retail chains, for collecting money, supposedly for children again, or maybe for a church, or for the disabled. In general, money in retail chains is collected for good purposes, and how could it be otherwise? Because otherwise, no one would give this money. But where it actually goes, no one really knows. Although, why they don't know, some people know, and in particular, employees of one such retail chain told me that the money they collect for good purposes goes to cover the store's expenses, and not to any children and/or disabled people. And suckers, meanwhile, happily throw their money into these plastic troughs, thereby showing that they are such decent, friendly, and even cool people, ready to help those who need their help. Some do it for show, some do it out of conviction, but one way or another, suckers can safely be called both. As a result, someone manages to collect tidy sums of money this way, and often in a very short time. Whether you want to ask other people for money, as help or for good purposes, is your business, but keep in mind that there are no fewer suckers these days, so this method of getting money has worked and still works. But you should definitely read my article, which is called Money and Business, because if there is one thing that will always bring you a lot of money, it is a good business. If you have a business, you may never need money, but you need it urgently, so that you can't wait a day. Well, we have considered good options above, and now you know what to do when you urgently need money. But there are other ways to get them, which I have in store for you. You can get married to friends for a bag of money. Yes, this method is used by many. There are cute boys who butter up to rich ladies. There are also doormats who are ready to lie down under any cable, if only he had a lot of money. This method, of course, is disgusting, at least for me, as a person accustomed to respecting himself. But for those whose parasitic instincts are higher than idealism, this method is quite acceptable, especially since there are plenty of people today who want to acquire a submissive pacifier or a bib boy. Another thing is how fast this method will be to get the amount of money you need. Considering that you need it urgently, it is difficult to say anything definite here. In some cases, a contract for your ass can be signed very quickly. It is enough to make one call and say yes or offer something and you will be given money. And then you will live with the person who will tame you, feed you. Such cases are not rare these days, and I know of them, including from the example of some of my friends. But I will not describe them all to you here, because it will take a lot of time, and there is no particular point in this, because each case is unique in its own way. So a rich husband or wife is a good option to get money, in some cases very quickly, when someone is just waiting for your answer. And then, today in a week, you can find a person, meet him, have a wedding with him and get rich. But for this, you must of course try hard, because in our time there are so many betting, and not every one of them can grab a more or less decent wallet for herself. But these are not my problems, but yours. I gave you a working idea, and then, as you wish, implement it, if you like it. And also pay attention to my article Where to Get Money for Business. Otherwise, maybe you don't want to trade your ass. And instead, decide to create your own business and get rich at its expense. You should know where you can get money for this noble cause. So, dear readers, you can get money when you need it in different ways, but we will return to debts and loans as the most realistic way to get a certain amount of money you need, here and now. The debt can be different. You can borrow a certain amount of money once, and then return it in parts. Or you can, if it suits you, return it all at once when the time comes. You can take a loan with interest or without it, depending on how and with whom you agree. But with a loan, everything is simple and clear. You can take it without even leaving your home. Today you can get a loan online, right on the internet, unless of course the interest rate scares you off and if you are given it. In principle, loans are given today to many, even to those who have no credit history or a very bad one. True, in such cases the loan is given at a very high interest rate, since the risk of non-repayment is too great. But, I am sure, you plan to repay the loan, and if you convince those from whom you ask for it, they will not refuse you temporary financial assistance. And I strongly recommend that you read my article, entitled How to Return Money, in which I talk about how you can return money that someone once borrowed from you and does not return. This material will be useful for study, both for those who are going to or have already lent money, and for those who took it or are going to take it. That's how things are with you and me, dear friends. If you urgently need money, you can do different things to get it, but whatever you do, borrowing money or taking out a loan is the simplest and most common option today. Decide for yourself whether it suits you or not. I remember when I had a very acute money problem, I tried all the methods, and one of them always worked. What can I say? A person is capable of a lot when he really needs something, so relying on some difficulties is not so much weak as lazy people who don't really need anything. They don't need money, or what they are going to spend it on, so they talk about the impossibility of something there. Don't do that. Don't be a weakling, whining about all sorts of trifles. If you need money, then go and get it. On credit, on loan, as payment for your work that you will do later, it doesn't matter. The main thing is to get going, and then you will definitely get out of it.